How often do you look at yourself in the mirror and try to act charismatic? Talk to yourself in the mirror, work on your facial expressions. Imagine you're in a movie delivering some epic monologue. How often do you do that? Like, who here does that? Raise your hand. Few. Who here has never done that? Everyone's like, well, a mirror, that's not what it's for, just to do my hair. Okay, so this is something, no joke, if you have trouble really bringing that passion, expanding that range, and just doing it at will on the external side of things, start doing it. Every day, look at yourself in the mirror, 5 minutes, deliver some epic speech. And it can have a different theme, right? It could be like, you could even go on YouTube and be like, most famous movie speeches and whatnot. You could even have the script next to you if you want. Deliver that in the mirror. Look at how you deliver it. Look at your facial expressions. Look at all the details, okay, in terms of the words, how I'm saying the words, right? Like, even here, it's like, the words, how I'm saying the words, like I close one eye. Like, I'm very aware of this. I do this all the time. Okay, when I first started out, even working on my social skills, from being someone who was just extremely shy, stifled, what would I be doing with my free time prior to that? Watching TV, watching movies. And no joke, a lot of what I found amusing when socializing was then trying to bring those characters and those styles of speaking out in my interactions. Not to try to become that, but to see how it felt. It's like trying on different shoes, seeing how, if I could, what's my version of that, right? Like you might see some crazy speech like, say, Heath Ledger, right, the Joker, and you're like, whoa, like if you were to audition for the Joker, what would be your version? How would you do that, right? Even going further, you could record that. Every day, record an audition tape for a certain role. Say you had 5 minutes, camera's on you, you take your phone out, record, go for the Joker. And then watch it and be like, would you hire you? If the answer is no, then what can you expand on? How can you work on that? Okay, and then of course it's not just doing it at home. It's like, okay, trying it on for size, trying on different feels. Then you go out, it's like bring it out in the real world. I still do it to this day, by the way. Okay, there was a video you can find on my channel. It's called the Happiness Manifesto 2.0, which I'm very proud of. There's a bit in that manifesto where, no joke, during that time, I filmed it in Texas, okay, and I took obviously the plane to get there, and on the plane I watched this show. It was called See on Apple TV, right? It was with Jason Momoa and Everyone's Blind, and there's this character in there, this queen, who's like the psycho character. Okay, for charisma, I always for some reason resonate with the psycho characters. They just have the more of that hump, and I was watching that. And just with any show or movie, of course, I'm enjoying the experience, but I'm always analyzing it for personality value, right? Social value. And it just kind of naturally came out. If you look in that Happiness Manifesto, there's a good 5-minute plus segment where I go on this like crazy monologue illustrating one of the ideas I'm talking about, where I literally sound like that queen.
Do you sense any anger? Do you sense any stress? Do you sense any fear? Or do you sense presence in this moment? This is how I am all the time. When I wake up in the morning, when I take a dump, I don't even clench. I am peaceful like this, and it just soars out.
It also gets you in touch with different parts of your body or personality that you've never experienced, right? Like I said, most people, they just kind of stand still, just say, okay, move, and they're like, oh, moving and putting your body in probably feels really strange. You're like, wow, I never knew I could do this, right? Like, it's insane to see also, just if you go out to any venue, bar, restaurant, whatever, people are talking, just how everyone's just so stiff, right? It's like, where's the flow, right? Is that what your body was for? Just stiff, right? It's like, you're out talking to people, you're stiff. You come home, you're working, you're on your computer, you're stiff, everything is stiff, get it? So that's something too. It's like, oh, what does it feel like to talk with my body? Right? I did that back in the day when I would watch, say, Dane Cook as a comedian. This is years ago. I would actually watch Dane Cook bits before live events. Right? This is back in, like, say, 2012 or so. I'd watch it before doing a live event, and for the main thing I got from him is just like how to speak with your body. Right? And there was some events back then where I would just do it over the top, Like, no joke, I have some old videos where, just like some of the examples here, it's like, it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna put my body into this. And I'd explain stuff and I'd be like half on the ground doing like Spider-Man poses. It was like just so over the top. But that was me trying it on. I was like, hey, let me stretch it out a bit. Let me break the mold. Okay? So the movement is one. The same with learning how to laugh at yourself, learning how to work and stretch even your facial expressions. Like, most people don't talk with their face either. It's like the body's the easy one, technically. Then it's, can you talk with your face? I'm talking with my face when I'm speaking right now. I'm talking with my face when I'm not speaking. When someone's talking to me, I'm not just the whole time. I'm like, right? Even when someone's talking and I look away, it says something. If someone's talking and I smile, it says something. If someone's talking, I'm like, it says something as well. Do you have that? Right? And then look at yourself in the mirror and be like, hey, does it not only come off as charismatic and congruent, but does it also come off as non-creepy? Like, you might see my expression, I'm like that. That there, you'll first, this goes really advanced again. Like, you'll try it in front of the mirror and you'll be able to like your version might be like really over the top kind of, that's what I'm saying, make sure it's not creepy. If it's like mid-conversation, like someone's talking, you're like, not good. But it's better than, hey, nothing if you never do it. But then with social calibration and social intelligence, you'll see that there's really so many little micro subtleties to this. Like, if someone's talking, I was like some of it's like, okay, in the, but I can't do this too long, so I'll do this, and then there's the looking away at the same time, so it's like, combined with a smile, right? Pressure on, smile, pressure off. So it's like all these little nuances you must familiarize yourself with, right? But first, you better figure out, like, what's all the ammo I have in this body? What's all the conversation and charisma ammo that I have access to? Try it out, see what's there, then polish it, then perfect it, okay? But I would really do this. It sounds super simple, just like the audition tape. If you did that every day for a month, 2 months, 3 months, just watch how your level of expressiveness would just expand through the roof. Like, you'd come back at say a seminar like this, doing the exercise, immediately crush it, right? If you view it honestly. It's like, would you hire you? And this is something that you can then incorporate in all settings, right? It doesn't always have to be this extreme here. You don't have to always be like, oh, standing up and speaking with the body. Even in a more serious setting, you could be like, just seated. Hi. You could even talk low, chill, and still reel people in. Right? That's really what you want to cultivate. And when you have that too, again, the bar out there is so low, you stand out immediately. And it also signals that you are someone who is emotionally healthy. Right? Someone who is very tense or tries to compensate by like forcing stuff. It's like, it's a sign that there's a lot of inner tension, inner resistance. It's not someone who's very whole. It means there's a certain front, right? It means that there's a lot of insecurity and fear and needing for approval. It's a sign of just someone who's not grounded, who hasn't come into their own as a person, right? If it's like, oh, they see someone who relax, just letting it loose, whoa, there's an emotionally healthy person. What does high energy charisma look like for me? What does low energy charisma look like for me? What does loud charisma look like for me? What does quiet charisma look like for me? You should be able to easily differentiate that, and ultimately, like, someone who's really charismatic can make anything work. Someone who's really charismatic can make the wheels on the bus work. They can make talking quietly work. They can make sitting still and not even moving their body work, right? It's like, it's not so much like this one thing, like this trick that you turn on. It's the art of just turning whatever you feel, whatever you're saying, into something captivating. And actually, another key question for everyone is ask yourself, whose permission am I waiting? Like, am I depending on? Because that's the one too. It's like, you all know you have this. Like, you all know, like, guaranteed all of you here, you would do way better doing the wheels on the bus at home in front of the mirror versus in front of a crowd. Guaranteed at home, you'd be like, oh yeah, the wheels on the bus, like super loud. It's like just you in your little bathroom. You would be like doing the motions to it. Yeah, the wheels on the bus, you know, they go round, like totally into it. Yet here it's like, wheels on the bus, yeah, they kind of go round, I guess, right? So you all have that. And you all have that. This is the other crazy part. Even if you can't fully do it well at home, you can do it in your head. Can all of you right now picture in your head delivering the most epic wheels on the bus here up front?
Tony Robbins level wheel.
Yeah, everyone can in their head, right? So it's like, it's not that you can't ever see yourself doing it. It's not like you can't do it. It's, okay, well, if I can do it in my head, or maybe I can do it at home, or in some situations, what's blocking me here? Like, where am I like looking for permission to do this? Because ultimately that's what you want. It's like, when certain requirements are met, we give ourselves permission to just unleash. If I'm alone and no one's watching, permission, yay! Right? Why don't you just give yourself that permission all the time? It's part of like reclaiming your power ultimately. Right? It's like, hey, no matter what, let's go. And it's the whole like going first. Those would be some key ones to write down. It's like, whose permission? Can I give it to me right now? And reclaim your power. Go first. Go first. Stop waiting for others to go first, because that's another one with permission. It's like, I'll be loud when someone else is loud. Oh, they were loud and it's fine. Okay, me too. Right? Oh, that other person started joking. Oh, I can now joke as well. Me too. Go first. And you'll see people will then, want to be around you because you're giving them permission to do it. And it's very captivating. Right? So even notice the way I'll start any event, really, no matter how I feel, is I'll go up front, just like I did here today, and I'm like, okay, how's it going? I'm going first. I'm not waiting. Like, I'm like, oh, is the crowd, is it a high energy crowd? Are they going to respond? It's like, I go first. By doing that, it unlocks a little bit in you. Right? If I'm like, ooh, it looks like a serious crowd, like, I'm going to go up and just have fun. And by having fun and joking around, it allows you to do that as well. So don't wait. Right? And if you catch yourself, if you're looking at others, that's bad. You want others to be looking at you. If you're looking at others, you've fallen into that trap. Okay? But those are some key ones. And then, of course, the big one, too, with the permission, combine that at home with letting go, and that'll be game changer. Being chill and charismatic works when it's a choice, not a reaction. That's it. You want to know if being chill is charismatic or not? Is if you're choosing. Like, if it's authentically what you feel, and then, I'm just going to be chill and express that, versus it's all I know. I'm scared of being loud, and it's reactive. If people sense you're boxed into being chill, and that's your only option, not charismatic. If it's just like, oh, I could be loud, but I just feel like being chill. I'm choosing to be chill. Charismatic. But yes, you don't have to be all over the top, right? Just look, for example, at Jordan Peterson. Do you find him charismatic? Yes? No? Yes. Yeah. Is he super high energy? No. He's not very high energy. He stutters a lot, right? Does he even hold eye contact with the crowd? Not even that much. For the most part, like, this is the Jordan Peterson stance. He's like looking down at the ground and just... Yeah, it's super charismatic. Now, what would people say? Well, is that the best body language? Oh, so you see with the lobsters, right? It's like, is that the best body language? No. But it's charismatic. And that's the next level, even above that, is that if you really are someone who's like crushing it socially, you can break all those traditional rules. Like, people say, okay, what's good body language? Like, shoulders back. Yeah, look at the crowd. Yeah, okay, that's cool. But you could also go up and do this and still be charismatic, right? You can look down the entire time and still be charismatic too, right? Like, just literally looking at the floor the whole time and bringing people in. You can be charismatic even being super quiet. It doesn't have to be loud. You can even be charismatic, not even talking. Right? And notice, just the silence. Everyone's like just laughing, right? But that's true, like, social superpowers, right? And it also means, so there's one side where it's like, give yourself permission, also asking yourself, can you allow yourself to be seen, right? And then the other one is, can you bask in the tension? Because that's also a lot of social superpowers. It's like creating positive tension and not removing it extremely, like, right off the bat. So say here with that example, it's like, you can be quiet. And I'm quiet. I can bask in the quietness. I can be quiet here for like an hour and just chill, right? So notice, it's by me being quiet and then staying in that quietness that creates that, you could say, the room for some tension, And then how do people relieve themselves of tension? They laugh. That's why some of you laughed. But say I was like, or quiet. So anyway, it would just rob you of that opportunity to experience that positive tension and laugh. Right? But you got to be willing to sit with it. It's at first, it might not be very comfortable at all. At first you're like, oh, I don't like this. Because that also means all eyes are on you too. It's like you're at the source of that. Hey, if you can't handle that, not good at all. So kind of learning how to bask in that, right? The thing, if I look back at my journey, kind of the baby steps that allowed me to start basking in it was one, having a ton of, again, inside jokes with myself. Like that should be so much of going out. Whether at first it was like, hey, I'm going to go out and I'd pick these funny lines from movies or shows. I'm like, I'm going to say these lines in the interactions and we'll see how it goes. Like giving myself little inside jokes. So then middle of an interaction, I'd say the line and it doesn't have to be a cool line, just like the most random line, but I know it's from a movie and I find it funny just saying it in there. And I'd say it maybe with the same tonality or whatnot as the person in the movie. I'd find that funny. Okay? And they'd be like, oh, learning how to kind of laugh, stay with that tension. Okay, cool. And then keep building and building and building, but have those inside jokes with yourself. And maybe in that scene, and that's what started getting me used to the tension, is maybe there was like a pause between two of the words that was a little longer than usual. Then I'd pause, right? There's times too in an interaction where I'd go on a full monologue from a movie that I've seen and just get lost in the monologue and just like look up into the sky and wonder at what point is the person going to interrupt and call me back down to earth, right? So it's like, imagine you're talking and then suddenly, there's this, what you're saying, what's your name? Ryan, your name reminds me of this person many years ago, many moons ago. And just start like ranting in the sky. And everyone's like, what? Right? But then again, I would, just like with the wheels on the bus, I'd be laughing at like, in my mind, and those good vibes would go through and I'd stay with the tension of the person being like, what is he looking at? What? I would just stay with it. And then, oh, just kidding, or I'm back. Create those moments of tension.